Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us for another segment of Health Professional Radio. In this segment, we're going to be speaking with Dr. Alan Davidoff. He's joining us here as CEO of XORTX Therapeutics. It's a clinical stage biotechnology company developing promising therapeutics for progressive kidney disease. He's joining us to talk about the company's lead assets that are indicated for kidney disease and COVID-19 related kidney injury as well. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Dr. Alan Davidoff.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to chat with your audience.
Tell us a bit about yourself, give us some insight into your background, and then talk about how XORTX came to be founded.
Yeah, I'd be pleased to. My name is Alan Davidoff, as you mentioned. I have a PhD in cardiovascular physiology. I've always, throughout my industry career, been very focused on practical application of drugs and therapeutics for a variety of areas. My academic background was in cardiovascular physiology and biophysics, and specifically understanding how the heart fails after a myocardial infarction. I was a graduate in the early 2000s and started my industry career with Cardiome Pharma, developing heart failure and arrhythmia drugs in the Vancouver area. I was there for a couple of years, worked on several clinical trials that wound up being European marketed products. I went on from that point in the mid-2000s to co-found a stem cell company based on some discoveries that some hormones can turn on the stem cells that we have within our tissues, and specifically in the brain, to repair injury after stroke or a traumatic brain injury. Was there as the chief scientist for 8 years, and then after leaving in 2012, founded with a colleague of mine, XORTX Therapeutics. Our focus is on lowering the activity of an enzyme called xanthine oxidase. This is the enzyme that in health produces uric acid for excretion, but in pathology and health situations, and specifically in the kidney, this enzyme can be a bad player in the health of the kidney and accelerate progression. And so we have focused the company and our team on developing therapies for polycystic kidney disease, our primary therapeutic area. But we also think this is broadly applicable to diabetic nephropathy as well.
Is polycystic kidney disease, in your opinion, the most unmet need in progressive kidney disease, or is it just one of several?
I think the latter is certainly the case. We believe that the xanthine oxidase enzyme within the tissues of the kidney and circulating uric acid levels can play a harmful role. We know that a variety of diseases like type 1 diabetic nephropathy, which is generally an autoimmune disease, or type 2 diabetic nephropathy, which is more associated with obesity and poor glucose management, or autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease, our lead area, have common symptoms such as hypertension, mismanagement of blood sugar, blood glucose. And it's just beginning to be understood that this enzyme, xanthine oxidase, is increased in tissues during the time that disease is progressing. So maybe not the initiator, but certainly acting like an accelerant in the process of disease progression. We think our therapy is broadly applicable, specifically applicable to autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease, but broadly applicable to diabetic nephropathy. So if you look at the distribution of chronic kidney diseases, diabetic nephropathy makes up almost half of all individuals with progressing kidney disease. ADPKD makes up about 5% of individuals. The enzyme and its activity in harm, in injury, is increasingly well established. We think we have the tool to be able to turn off the activity of that enzyme and so redefine the way that kidney disease is treated. And to get more specific to your question, at present there are really two classes of drugs to manage high blood pressure in the setting of kidney disease, or to manage high glucose within the blood or within the urine. Beyond that, there are very few therapies approved that slow the progression of kidney disease. We think we have an ideal opportunity to redefine the way that kidney disease is treated in the future with this class of agents that we're developing.
Well, tell us about your lead program and how it's focused on ADPKD. How does it actually treat this condition?
Right. So polycystic kidney disease originates because of a genetic mutation in the transport of uric acid and ions across the tubules in the kidney. That disease can progress in a variable way. In some cases, it progresses very slowly. In many cases, it progresses much faster. We see associated with the progression of that disease an increase in circulating uric acid levels in individuals who have stage 3, which is sort of moderate kidney disease due to autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. About half of those individuals have high uric acid. By the time they're at stage 4, about 80% of individuals have high uric acid. And the evidence that we've accumulated and discovered to date suggests that the kidney in polycystic kidney disease is expressing this enzyme xanthine oxidase in high levels at the tubules and the cysts that are newly developing and acting as an accelerant. So creating intracellular uric acid, intracellular free oxygen radicals, and accelerating this process of dropping out the filtering units, the nephrons of the kidney, but also increasing the number of cysts and the growth of those cysts, kind of like adding fuel to a fire. So removing that fuel to the accelerating process is what we're focused on with polycystic kidney disease.
Tell us what the name of this compound is and what the next steps are in its development.
So this compound that we're focused on developing right now is oxypurinol. It is a xanthine oxidase enzyme inhibitor. It is well known through phase 1 and phase 2 human clinical trials to be very well tolerated. It inhibits the enzyme effectively. We have improved the delivery of that drug through formulation work and formulation patents, which are now granted in the U.S. and in Europe. And we are just in the midst of describing the increased bioavailability that results from the formulations and our technology around this molecule as a stepping stone to pursuing orphan drug designation, to pursuing further discussions with the FDA around a special protocol assessment for a phase 3 trial. And the guidance from the FDA is for rare diseases like polycystic kidney disease that contribute about 5% of all individuals with progressing kidney disease. There is an opportunity to potentially achieve accelerated approval for this product if we can demonstrate it slows the expansion of kidneys, which is a problem in polycystic kidney disease. And secondarily, we can gain approval if we show that we can slow the rate at which glomerular filtration rate declines. So therapeutically, a single phase 3 trial that would treat patients for 2 years can lead to marketing approval and revenue for this product. So it's late stage. It's a first in class of this drug to be introduced for this purpose. And we're very optimistic with regards to its potential to help individuals and keep them off of dialysis. And it's notable that about half of all individuals with polycystic kidney disease will lose their kidneys by age 55 or so. So a desperate need and an opportunity to bring a tool that we know can help turn off that xanthine oxidase enzyme.
Well, give us a website where our listeners can learn more.
Yeah, you bet. Our company website is www.XORTX.com. Plenty of information there.
Appreciate it so much, Dr. Davidoff. Thank you so much for joining us here on Health Professional Radio.
My pleasure, and thank you for the invitation.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Dr. Alan Davidoff. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, listen in, download at Anchor, Spotify, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.